The world has never been spoken to quite this way. We've never been warned like this before, all of us, about climate change, nor have so many countries agreed quite this much on the clear and present danger it represents.
Severe, pervasive, and irreversible.
Climate change is getting worse.
It's here right now and we are all being affected.
It's a serious business.
Global warming threatens every part of the U.S.
Heavy weather now and more to come.
This isn't something in the distant future.
Between melting ice caps,
Or heat waves, hotter summers,
Drought,
coastal flooding, higher sea levels,
wildfires,
insect infestations, hurricanes,
and cyclones.
all across the country.
no region of the country will be spared.
And it's not just the U.S.
Nobody on this planet is going to be untouched by the impacts of climate change.
You remember Superstorm Sandy?
You remember Hurricane Sandy?
the water was above my head.
The economic effect of that alone is enormous.
If we wait until the end of the century, Miami, Tampa, Charleston, New Orleans will all be flooded.
Climate change is our most urgent #1 priority right now.
So what we've been doing for the last couple of hundred years is digging up carbon out of the earth and throwing it up into the atmosphere and changing the chemical composition of the atmosphere, like has happened in the past, except for way, 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 way faster.
It's getting warmer in thermometer records. It's getting warmer in thermometer records analyzed by NASA, by NOAA, by the British, by Berkeley. Thermometers in the ground, thermometers in the ocean, thermometers on balloons, thermometers on satellites, thermometers out in the air far from cities. The temperature-sensitive ice everywhere you look is getting smaller. 90% of the changes in where things live and when they do things in the direction of warming. Is it getting warmer? Yes.
We have measured about a 0.8 degree Celsius rise in global average temperature since before the industrial age. This 0.8 degree temperature rise is a response to what we were doing 50 to 100 years ago.
This is simple math. You put carbon in the atmosphere, it's an insulation blanket. We can calculate how much carbon we're putting in. We can watch the temperature change. It's not complicated. It's not a debate anywhere in the world except where it's been manufactured by people whose interests will be threatened.
Tom, I guess the question is, the United States, is it prepared?
No. That's the simple answer, because it's almost impossible to imagine being prepared for something like this.
Part of the problem is we don't set energy policy in Washington. There's nobody in Washington, D.C. whose job it is to write energy policy for this country. We've never had a national energy policy. But I think your bigger question is, what about Congress? If we do not turn this around in the next decade or so, it's inescapably bad. We've been given a gift of technology where we can turn it around. And the difference is very specifically in the policies enacted that govern our energy delivery systems. We need to get those policies right. It's not that complicated. It's emphatically an idea whose time has come.
It means preparing ourselves.
There's no question about it at all. We will only solve the problem of replacing fossil fuels with technology.
Can we change things that affect air pollution and climate at the same time? The answer is yes.
Bringing the winds of change to the energy mix.
The expansion of offshore and onshore wind farms, biomass, wave and tidal energy technologies are opening up new opportunities for a more sustainable energy supply.
It's clean and it's endless.
Do you realize how many thousands of jobs this could create and sustain? Talk about a hypodermic adrenaline shot to the heart of the manufacturing and infrastructure sector.
So when we go out into the future, there's a difference. The future is unknown, the future is uncertain, and there are choices. Here are the choices that we have. We can do some work to mitigate the emissions of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. That's the top one. We can do more work to really bring it down so that by the end of the century, it's not much more than it is now. Or we can just leave it to fate and just continue on with a business as usual. The risk of not acting far outweighs the risk of acting. What is the use of having developed a science well enough to make predictions if, in the end, all we're willing to do is stand around and wait for them to come true? The models are skillful, but what we do with the information from those models is totally up to you.
I'm Nancy Skinner, and I've made my choice. I knew after running for Congress twice now on climate change and nearly winning in half of this 11th district, I could win this seat. I knew that I could lead in Congress, and I knew that I could show other candidates how to run and win on climate change and elect that majority, our tipping point, which we need to do to act on climate change. Now, here's what you can do. You can donate $11 for the 11th district for one candidate who's going to lead on climate change. I'll get elected and help elect more members to Congress. It's your choice now. It's a simple choice. You're being asked to make a choice right now. This choice is very personal. It's yours. It's not partisan. It's urgent. It's happening faster than we thought. And it's the only choice you'll ever make in policy that's irreversible. You're not alone. When you donate $11 to the link below and you see exactly which number you were, first or 100th, you'll know that you made a difference. You decided to block out the noise of the oil billionaires and do what we know we must do. It's your choice now. I've made my choice. Tell me, what's yours?
Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountains? Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.